And the audio is unmuted. And look,
Oh,
there
holy
we
moly.
are in our brand new living room. How's it going, guys?
Hi.
We are officially live. We're here.
We're
So
Folks, you're
Simpsons.
listening to Super Nin Podcast, the
We're
podcast
not.
all about Super Nintendo
That's
and
not what this
all of
is.
the games that have come out for that console.
That's
We're here today to talk about Super Tennis.
That's really far away
Devin,
from what we do.
Now what is tennis?
Tennis, in many ways, is a larger version of the game table tennis. Which one came first? Who's to say?
Okay.
But we know that the first person to digitize it was Michael Pong.
Michael
Who put that up for the
Pong.
Atari.
Okay.
Right.
And the evolution naturally led its way up to
And his partner Peter Ping.
Peter Ping and Michael
that's
Pong.
a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, so here
What
we
an
are. We're
incredible
doing
game.
another Homerphilia live stream. So we are people at home. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. You're in the chat. You can participate. We record a weekly podcast called Homerphilia, in which we watch an episode of The Simpsons and then we talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about for an hour. Normally we have a guest. Normally we're together, but we're not doing that because of pandemic and times. So here we are, and we're gonna start the words. The podcast will release. It'll come out in a handful of weeks from now. But I'm gonna do a countdown, and once that countdown's up, that is where the audio for the podcast we will release. That's where that audio will start. So without further ado, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What are you
guys' top 5 favorite cubes? For me, I'm gonna go first game, second by beef bouillon.
Cube.
I'm gonna say I gotta throw ice in there.
I like the Star Trek Borg
Ice
ship,
cube.
the big cube that the Borgs are in space. That's a good cube, I think.
Cubed ham.
Yeah.
Rubik's.
Rubik's is a great cube.
Rubik's is a
Hypercube.
good cube.
The dastardly Rubik and his incredible cube.
Dastardly Rubik and his nefarious hulking cube.
I definitely enjoy a good two-dimensional cube or a square.
Oh sure.
I love a good square. I know
the
you folks
awful, evil, villainous Rubik's and the ultimate enemy of all humanity, his hulking, angry, sweaty cube.
We've got some folks watching, and you might be asking yourselves, what types of things might I put in the chat? And I'm here to tell you folks,
Social security number,
credit card number, passwords to your email, or
the name of the first person you ever kissed.
Yes, please, all your pets
and why you aren't with them anymore.
Your favorite number. Also, maybe you could say on a scale of 1 to 10, this is how many I like The Simpsons, because this is a Simpsons podcast.
What?
Yes, if you could say on a scale of 1 to 10, this is how many I like The Simpsons. If you could go ahead and say on a scale of 1 to 10, this is how many I like The Simpsons.
So, for you guys, when you're thinking, how many is your Simpsons? I'm gonna say 10 right off the bat. That's how many I like Simpsons.
How many do I like The Simpsons?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 11.
Whoa!
I know that could be cheating.
Oh my god, that's record breaking. What a day in Simpsons.
I might even say 1,000, and that's 10 cubed.
That's so much. That's almost an astronomical amount, such that we might not even be able to comprehend what it means.
Yeah, many people cannot comprehend what I think or talk about.
Try right now to picture 1,000 of anything. I bet you can't do it.
Try to imagine 1,000 pennies. Can you imagine that?
No, I couldn't even.
10 rolls of pennies.
I couldn't even imagine, or I couldn't even begin.
No, 20 rolls, because they roll in 50s, right?
I couldn't even begin to imagine what 1,000 pennies might add up to.
Can you imagine what 1,000 grains of sand look like?
No,
It could be 1 teaspoon of sand.
That's too much sand for me to be around.
That's too much sand for you to be around. Medically speaking, you say,
Medically
right?
speaking, yes. I have very
Because
dry. I have very
you have the
dry
sand sickness,
thighs.
correct? Dry
Yeah,
thighs.
I
Yeah,
have dry
commonly
thighs.
known as sand sickness.
Sand sickness.
Yeah.
Now, Darren, how many from 1 to 10? How many would you say that you like The Simpsons?
I think starting off, I was a 0. I think I'm probably
Whoa.
getting close to like a 6 or a 7 right now.
Whoa.
And from a scale of 0 to 10, how dry are your thighs?
How dry are your thighs from 1
How
to
dry are your thighs?
I
1 to
mean,
10.
I took a shower and moisturized my whole body today, so I'm feeling.
You really slather it on?
Yeah,
Take out the spatula?
I lathered it on with all of my kitchen utensils.
And
Little
when
slip,
she-
little slop, and
Yeah.
you just are covered in moisturizer?
Yeah, well, I just took a
And
big
when we-
handful of coconut oil and I rubbed it on myself, whole body, and I'm gonna cook with that same coconut oil as soon as we're done
That's
recording.
I too am treating this pandemic like I am stuck on Gilligan's Island and I
Yes.
have to do everything with coconuts.
Yeah, my
Listen.
radio's made of coconuts. My phone's made of coconuts.
I drive a
Uh,
coconut car.
I'm glad that you let
My
us
feet
know.
Flintstone style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you let us know with what you were moisturizing, Darren. I was concerned.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of wrong answers and very few right answers.
Yes.
So I was just
Any-
clarifying that I was.
Typically,
Yeah.
anything in the kitchen is a no-go
Except coconut oil.
except coconut oil. But don't use like the brine from pickles.
Right.
Don't use
No.
If you're
Crisco.
I made the mistake of taking a thing of ibuprofen
right.
and just putting water in it and letting it just get all mushy. And then I would slather that on because I thought it would heal my cuts and moisturize
Yeah.
my skin.
Right.
I
but it
was
did not.
using I was
Best
using,
way to heal.
shortener for several months. I was using shortener to moisturize, but really that just interested the local neighborhood dogs, and they wouldn't leave me alone.
Well, and you also shrunk about 3 or 4 inches, correct?
yes, I did. It did have adverse effects. It did.
It did shorten you. Yes.
I was shortened. I was shortened pretty good by that.
Yeah, I did apply some Longener to my body from the kitchen, and that's how I grew to be this tall.
I had to. After my experiment with shortener, I had to get in the Longener game, and guess what, brother? That stuff hurts.
Well, you go to the doctor, and inevitably they always tell you, you got to lose a few inches.
Yeah.
I want to see you much shorter than you are now when you come back here.
Devin,
And-
the chat
Question for one
wants to
shortener.
know if you've considered getting an aloe vera plant.
Ooh, that's a good idea because of my perpetual sunburn.
Yeah, and all the cuts, all your cuts you're trying to heal.
Yeah, I have considered that. It would be good to moisturize with aloe vera, but I've just been using the plants I do have, and right now that's pretty much been tulips. So
Tulips
That's
and
my.
mushed up grass.
I live next to aloe vera.
Yeah. I live next to Jim Tulip, so he goes by Jimmy Tulips.
Now that's the plant that you can crack, and then it has special healing goop in it, right?
Yes, that is the
all right, common misconception: all plants have healing goop in it.
right.
All plants have. I am not allowed to have plants in my home because I can't have that much goop around me at any given time.
No, what am I, Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah. No, thank you, Mrs.
No, sir.
Goop.
No, thank
Miss-
you, Shakespeare in Love. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. No, thank you, Margot Tenenbaum.
No, thank you, Shallow Hal.
No, thank you, Mother to Apple.
I was just coughing. I don't have one. I was just literally just coughing. My brain. I stayed up really late last night, you guys. My brain's slow today.
Oh yeah,
But I'm
Time
catching
that
up.
must be tough.
Yeah. And I worked out and I showered today, and that's the extent of what I'm getting done. Workout, shower, do the podcast. So
Well, you
if you
forgot
guys-
you moisturized.
right, and I moisturized.
You used the right moisturizer.
I
So
used
good for you.
a right moisturizer.
Yeah, because you don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and be 3 or 4 inches taller or shorter
Right.
because of your moisturizer.
No.
It's really It's really like it screws with you to wake up 6'4" when you're normally 6 foot.
Yeah, no, I believe.
And I'll tell you what, it does not work that if you put on shortener and then realize it was a mistake and then try and put on longener as well, it doesn't even out. It's disastrous results.
You're getting in.
Your proportions get all fucked up.
Yeah, because then you get short on that part and long on the other part.
Oh yeah, when I got a short back and a long front,
yeah,
I'm fucked up.
I put a bunch of shortener on my knees, got real short legs, put a bunch of longener on my tummy, and was 6'4" above the waist and 1'2" below it.
So you were basically like one of
You're
the
7'6".
You were
Yeah.
you were basically a
Yeah.
giant fucking a
But I
giant
had-
Space Jam monster pre-change is what you were.
Yeah, my bottom half looked
Right.
like little monsters,
Yeah,
and my
and you-
top half looked like after they touched Magic Basketball.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is funny, Andy. Whenever I ask about you or anything related to how you look, you only put it in terms of the monstars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Well, that's-
interesting choice, but I guess it does have a lot of universal reach. A lot of people understand it. You know, if you start
Yeah.
talking, metric or standard, people are like, "Oh, I don't do that," and then you're like, "No, like
But you're
monster
like, how
size."
many monsters would
Yeah.
fit in that car?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then
But,
people
like,
get it.
you
They
were
get
out-
it.
You were doing yard work, and I was like, "Did you get a sunburn?" And you were like, "Yeah, but it was more like the orange Monstar than it was the red Monstar with the
Red
long
one,
ears."
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Buddy, you don't have to put it in those terms.
Right.
I do.
You don't. No, you don't."
That's how the world makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when you do your Rorschach test, you just say Monstar for everyone.
Yeah. And I'll have you know that the doctor gave me a lollipop afterwards that did a really good job.
Well, your doctor's a quack. We all know that.
Okay, just because he does quack doesn't mean he's a quack. Okay.
Your doctor's addicted to quack.
Just because he communicates through a series of what sound like quacks doesn't mean he is a quack.
The way you've described him, it does sometimes sound like your new doctor is just a duck.
Okay, just because he wears a sailor shirt on top and no pants on bottom doesn't mean he's a quack.
Well, and when you say I'm going to the doctor, I see you just put a bunch of breadcrumbs in your pocket and dash for the river.
Yeah.
And
okay,
I'm
so
thinking your doctor's office is not just on the bank of a river.
just because your doctor's office is in an office and my doctor's office is on the side of a river doesn't mean my doctor's a quack. And just because he's covered in very coarse white hair that may or may not be feathers doesn't mean he's a quack.
Well, and then whenever I'm like, how was the doctor's office? You just talk about your doctor's 3 nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah. And just because I hang out with those guys and we swim around in money doesn't mean they're quacks, okay?
But they're not doctors. And they're
No.
not people.
His nephews aren't doctors. But I mean, would just some nut down at the river show you his corkscrew penis? No. he's my doctor.
I
Can we run
think
that back? Would some nut
It's-
down by the river just show you his corkscrew penis? No, he's my doctor.
it sounds
The doctor should not be showing you his genitals, Andrew. Anyone could tell you this.
What doctor are you going to, man?
Andy.
The regular kind.
What are you
The
supposed
medical.
Are you supposed to show him your penis? What kind of doctor are you going to, brother? Oh man.
Just run me through. Okay, when you go to the doctor and you
Yeah.
throw the breadcrumbs in the water, and then
That's his
he comes to
payment.
visit you. Yes.
The
What
breadcrumb
it,
is money.
so when you're going for a physical,
Yes.
what does that look like?
I go down to the river. I pay him in breadcrumbs. He waddles around for a bit. He maybe lets me pet him. eventually he bites me and he scares me and I get chased away back home. And that's how I know that I'm healthy because
You can run away.
he didn't outrun me this time.
And what happens the times he does outrun you?
Well, you guys all know how much a doctor's bill hurts.
God, I really feel like
Yeah, doctors' bills are out of control, and that's why we need healthcare reform in this
I
country.
agree with a lot of the ideas that you're saying, but I think that you're missing the mark a little bit. Yes, doctors' bills are bad. Yes, you should. I don't know, man. I think that when.
These doctors' bills are outrageous.
So
you guys have
let me get this straight. Somebody
They're
told
so
you
hard
to.
and orange.
Somebody told you to go to the park and feed the ducks.
Yeah.
And that's where you met your doctor.
Yes.
And his doctor's bill hurts.
It hurts. It's outrageous.
Right.
When it pokes really hard because,
Right. And then what about your medical insurance? How's that factor in here?
My what?
Did you
Okay, so
Oh no. Where'd he go?
I don't know.
You froze. He froze. Or he's sitting very still.
you pay.
Okay, there he is. Are you back now?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
I didn't miss.
Yeah, I'm back.
So you said, let me get this straight, and then you froze. So what's up?
Let me get this straight. So your health insurance works like this: you pay a middleman a bunch of breadcrumbs to deny you the ability to go see your doctor at the river.
If you're telling me this guy down at the river is not my doctor, and I just give him breadcrumbs to harass me, that's a bombshell.
Boy, do you guys want to name your favorite doctors of all time? I'll start. Top 5: Daffy, Affleck, Scrooge McDoctor, the Howard the, and Rubber Ducky.
Yeah,
Rubber.
I love all those. I would throw Queen Medicine Woman in there.
God damn it.
Shout out to Renee Marie Rosenai's favorite TV show of all time, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. All right, would you watch a show called Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman? Also, how have we missed Doctor?
Doctor, yeah.
God damn it.
We circled it. We found it eventually. He's my doctor.
He's my doctor.
With the last name,
Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
with the
She's a
last
duck.
name,
She's the first woman doctor and the first duck doctor.
that's a lot of glass ceilings. With a last name like Quinn Medicine Woman, she had no other choice but to be a doctor. Like if you were Devin Quinn Medicine Woman, you would have to do medicine stuff.
That is a good point. It is. I was just looking up Jane Seymour from Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and it gave me the wrong Jane Seymour.
Uh-oh.
I got the Queen of England from 1536 to 37 as the third wife of King Henry. Not the Jane Seymour I want.
Okay, Google. I'll let you know when I'm looking up 1500s English history, okay? Cool it. I was talking about the TV show lady.
Wow, Jane Seymour, what a career.
What did she do other than Quinn Medicine Woman?
She's in a movie coming up starring Robert De Niro called The War with Grandpa.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Is that a continuation of the Bad Grandpa franchise? Or what was his movie? Dirty Grandpa?
Dirty Grandpa.
That is the worst name for a movie I've ever heard.
Is that a real movie?
Forced to give up his room to his grandfather, a scheming boy devises a series of outrageous pranks in an attempt to make him move out. Christopher Walken's in it, Uma Thurman, Rob Riggle, Cheech Marin,
Who directs this?
Faison Love.
Who directs this?
Tim Hill is directing this. You might know him from Muppets from Space, Max Keeble's Big Move, Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Hop, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever, and the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run.
Would you guys?
He wrote for Kablam. Oh, he's the director and producer of Kablam.
Really?
Would you guys be
That's
upset?
great.
Would you guys be upset to know that a movie called Dirty Grandpa made over $100 million?
Would I be upset?
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the things that make $100 million, and Dirty Grandpa's not the worst one.
Honestly, I miss growing up in an America where that we should be giving $100 million to a clean grandpa.
Yeah. Well, now that we're talking about it, and now we're finding out that there was in fact a movie called Dirty Grandpa, I gotta tell you guys, I gotta find out how dirty that grandpa is.
What do you guys want to know? Is that what we're gonna watch for next Thursday?
Maybe.
No.
No.
I want to watch something worse than Dirty Grandpa.
I gotta find out how dirty that grandpa
Wait,
is.
what's Dirty Grandpa
please,
and
Grandpa,
who was
how
in it?
dirty are you?
Who was
Please tell me, Grandpa, how dirty are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the dirtiest grandpa you've ever seen? On a scale of 1 to 10. 11? Wow.
Trust me, I've been around some dirty ass grandpas.
Dare, what's the dirtiest grandpa you've ever been around?
7.
But on a scale of 1 to 10.
7. Just 7.
7.
That's it.
Just
a
7.
Stone cold 7. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. He's a regular dirty 7, but he's like an LA dirty 4. That
Right.
grandpa.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys like your grandpa's dirty kinky or dirty filthy?
I like him dirty stinky.
Yeah.
Dirty
Nice-
stinky grandpa.
Stinky grandpa. Ooh, that grandpa. Ooh, that grandpa's so stinky.
Stinky.
God
Do
damn.
you guys want
Folks,
to talk?
listen to Homerphilia, Simpsons Saga.
26
talk about a different episode of The Simpsons.
26
And each
minutes
week,
in.
we rate some of the
26
filthiest
minutes
grandpas.
in. It took us to intro the show.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Listen, this is like a more normal Homerphilia vibe than we've
Yeah,
done on
it
these.
is.
These
It really
yeah,
is.
we got the body horror in early.
Yeah.
We did stinky doctor weird stuff.
Yeah.
we did. We talked about a crazy doctor I have, which is
We
now
talked
been-
about Scrooge McDuck. That comes up a lot for some reason.
It really
There
does.
are now like at least 4 episodes of Homerphilia where I have a bad doctor.
Yeah, and at least 14 episodes where you have some fucking weirdo genetic disease. You've had a real bumpy
Fucked up,
road.
just horrific body shit.
What's-
Oh no, my knees are really short now, but my tummy's 6'4".
Oh
What-
no,
what-
I sleep on a bed of vegetables and it's becoming me.
Oh no, it's a big mushed up brown moss that's growing on my back.
Listen,
I bathe in a
what
giant pool of chili in the basement of a Wendy.
do you guys want me to make up goofs for the show or talk about my real life? What do
I
you want?
like when you talk about your real life, man. I
I'm
think
talking
that
about my real life here.
I just think you got a
was-
lot of unique
I
health
wake
issues.
up, I go to a river. My doctor's a duck. His name is Dr. Doctor.
My tummy is 6'4" and my legs are 1'2".
His
Because
his
I moisturize with shortener and longener.
his doctor bills are really hurting me.
My life, these doctor bills hurt so much.
I don't think you understand what doctor bills are, but I get that you are probably being hurt by a bill. So we watched the Ned Flanders Leftorium episode. What was that called?
Yes. When Flanders failed.
When Flanders failed. So this
No,
is season
yeah,
3,
on a-
episode 2
on a-
on Disney Plus.
On a
Right?
recent episode, you had asked what Ned did as a profession, and
Yep.
that was a bit of trivia I didn't remember. And now I realize why he was only that for the first 2 seasons. In which
What did he
Ned
say?
barely
He was
appeared.
it was like accountant or something
So,
or finance
Pharmacist.
something? Pharmacist. There we go. He was a pharmacist.
This episode is the only time he ever makes mention of being a pharmacist, and you never see him at the pharmacy ever in
Wow.
the show.
That's
but
I
crazy.
worked at a pharmacy. I worked at a Rite Aid for 1 year, and they had a very, very strict policy about employees stealing from the store. And I was always against.
Okay.
And they fired the head pharmacist because they found out he would drink Red Bulls, not pay for them, and throw the cans away.
Hell yeah.
Can you imagine being a fucking
A
pharmacist?
pharmacist.
Pharmacists make good money. It's not a hard job.
Yeah.
You have to go to school for a long time. Can you imagine not paying for Red Bulls and getting fired
Getting
for it?
caught for stealing Red Bulls.
Humiliating.
Yeah. Now, Devin,
Mhm.
did you work in the normal part of the Rite Aid or the part that they get really upset if I try to go there?
I work in the normal part.
Okay.
We did have to deal with a lot of people like you
Okay.
trying to
Okay,
go into
'cause-
the other part.
Rite Aid is very confusing to me because most of it, they're like, yeah, it's fine. Come here and look and touch at all my stuff. But then
you go behind, you try and crawl over the counter to get to the stuff in the back part
they
with all the
don't
white
want-
bags.
They don't want
No.
you touching any of that stuff.
Well, I have seen you try to enter a Rite Aid by pulling up into the drive-through, opening the drive-through window and trying to crawl in. And that is
And
not
they
a
don't-
door. I want to be clear
Yeah.
about that. And then when they say, Andy, what are you doing here? You say, oh, I'm looking for grape chewing gum.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't believe
like-
you.
Well, yeah. And they're like, that would be over in the gum aisle. And I'm like, you have a whole aisle for gum? Just let me back there. And and it also isn't just needing a white coat, because I tried that and they still didn't want me back there.
Well, to be clear, the white coat you were wearing was not a traditional lab coat. It was a gigantic mink fur coat,
Yeah.
like you were a movie star from the 40s. And that is,
Yes.
it's not about the color of the coat.
Okay. Cause my great grandma was a movie star from the 40s, and I
Oh,
borrowed
what
her
were some
coat.
of her most famous films?
Rinky Dink Kong.
Wow, the smallest Kong of them all.
So they made that. They made it in 1939. King Kong was a giant smash success, and my great grandma's director, he was like, okay, they loved that huge monkey. They loved how big that monkey is, but what if this time instead of really big, it's really small?
So this
It's
is
kind of a
like
Honey, I Shrunk the
reverse
Kids
Honey I
versus
Shrunk the
Honey, I Blew Up
Kids.
the Kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was thinking the exact same thing there, bud.
Yeah. So they were really scared of a big ass monkey. What about if it's tiny?
Was
So
she
they-
also in Rinky Dink Godzilla? I guess that's
Yeah.
just Gadzuki.
Yeah. What's Gadzuki?
Gadzuki is a really tiny, just like nice, friendly Godzilla who's like kind of comic
he's
relief.
tiny?
He's tiny. I think his name's
like-
Gadzuki.
Those are the two scariest things: when something is way bigger than it's supposed to be, but also when it's way smaller than it's supposed to be. Those are
His
both-
name's Gadzuki.
Those
Is there
are
any
both-
way I can share this in the chat anywhere?
I don't know.
I think you just post a link and then it is there.
I'll try and share it to a Facebook or something. It is hilarious. Gadzuki's it's in a Godzilla cartoon.
And that was mostly what my great grandma did in Hollywood, was be in stuff of really small stuff.
Yeah, she was in the Rinky Dink Maltese Falcon,
Rinky Dink Casablanca.
the Rinky Dink Gone with the Rinky Dink Wind.
Yeah, and I don't they just put Rinky Dink in all of them.
Well, your grandma's name was Rinky Dink, is that correct?
Yeah,
Rinky Dink Reed.
My grandma was Rinky Dink Reed. You look her up; she's famous. Anyway, so we didn't we didn't know that much about. This is the first one that we get to know a lot about Ned.
Yeah, I mean, the few times we've seen him, he wasn't really the focus at all.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
was. It was a Ned Homer plot for sure.
Yeah. So now it's interesting. Uh, we've had in the last week you were like, oh, this is the first one they kind of went outside of Springfield,
Right.
and kind of made the world bigger. And this is the first episode where they've gone outside the family for a focal point.
Right. And also, like, what's crazy is, you don't really realize how much of a world they've already built, just over 2 seasons in, because even when they're at the mall or they're at these locations, it's like every person there pretty much is somebody we've met, whether it's Dr. Nick, is that weird guy?
Yeah.
He was in there.
Hi,
and then
everybody.
Burns, and then yeah, I don't know. I really am surprised how quick they've built this world and these recognizable characters. But so pretty much what happens in this episode is Ned is he wants to have a barbecue. He invites the Simpsons. Essentially, there's a wishbone situation. Ned announces that he's going to quit his pharmacist job to start a left-handed store in the mall.
Yeah.
Homer gets the big end of the wishbone. He wishes that Ned fails. Throughout this episode, we're seeing Ned's business facing a lot of trouble. And then at the end, Homer does what he can to help get people there.
Homer's a real jerk in this one.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
I thought I knew and I remembered, because I've seen this episode several times, that it had this "It's a Wonderful Life" moment at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
But Homer's behavior until he turns is irredeemable.
It
Like,
really
I don't
is.
think how he
Unconscionable.
behaves at the end negates how he behaved at the beginning.
Yeah.
He was irredeemably a horrible person in this
Yeah, I
episode.
mean, he wanted his neighbor to fail because he's jealous. I mean, really, he's jealous that his neighbor's
I think
going for his
wishing
dreams.
that kind of failure on someone is its own level of just being a bad person.
Yeah,
but then him actively making decisions.
yeah, like he
to
sees
encourage
people
it.
who need
Horrible.
left-handed shit, and he doesn't tell them about the left-handed store because he wants to
Yeah.
spite Ned, which I think is a thing where Homer doesn't really have any dreams, and he doesn't ever chase his dreams. So instead, he is bitter about people who do chase his dreams, which is.
It's always funny when somebody asks Homer to explain why he doesn't like Ned.
Yeah.
Because he always says stuff like, "Oh, he's so happy and grateful and surrounded by family."
Yeah.
Like that's why he does. Like he's pretty honest about
He's
why he doesn't.
super
like
bitter
him.
and jealous.
At one
I
point,
mean,
At one point, he goes, "I don't care if he's the nicest man on earth. He's a jerk."
yeah,
That's good. That's good.
it's comedy right there. That's what that is. Yeah, but I mean, really, this episode's pretty straightforward, pretty quick. There was, it was some good bits. We get to see a lot of left-handed people. I can't.
This is predicated on. I remember reading an interview with George Meyer, who's my favorite writer of The Simpsons, and famously the best at rewriting episodes.
Yeah.
One of his sisters said that he drove by a store specifically for left-handed people and was so moved. He started crying because he knew that the store was doomed to fail. He just felt so bad for this person who started this store and poured their life's work into something that was just doomed for failure. And I thought that's a very sweet, sensitive thing to see something and be like, oh my God, this person's wasted their life savings on this.
Maybe that's why I can't. I'm not a famous writer, as I can't feel that deeply for people, just random people.
I remember someone posting once that they were a libertarian until they did Molly for the first time and realized that other people had feelings.
Oh yeah, that was some tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I wish I could feel more empathetic towards people.
Other people have feelings.
What the fuck?
But yeah, there's some good good bits in here. I like when Homer takes a really long time to decide on what he's gonna wish for because he's daydreaming, and he's envisioning headlines, and the first one he envisions is President declares world peace, and then he's like, ah. And then he looks at it and says, President Simpson declares world peace. And he's like, okay. And then the next one is President Simpson wins Super Bowl.
This is very in the Bureau's wheelhouse of types of jokes, because we're always obsessed with like mayors and state senators and stuff. And the idea of someone wanting to be both the president and winning the Super Bowl at the same time fucking rocks.
Oh yeah. I was watching an episode of Kitchen Nightmares earlier, and when they revamp the restaurant, Gordon Ramsay always like invites important food critics or like local celebrities to the restaurants to like give them buzz. And this one, he was in the kitchen. He's like, this table has to go right. The mayor is here. And it's like, who gives a shit if the mayor of a town likes your shitty restaurant? That made me laugh that they were trying to make that sound like the most important thing. Like, the mayor is here.
The mayor of the town is here. And to that I say, Mayor, I barely know her.
Mayor, I barely know her.
This episode was, I don't know. I waffle sometimes back and forth on feeling deep empathy for Flanders and also just finding him very annoying. And when they humanize him, he is a very sad character.
Yeah.
There
are a couple episodes where he questions his faith a little bit. He never like, it never crumbles, but he does look at his own faith sometimes, and those are always very interesting Ned moments because he is so churchy.
We find him insufferable because he's a goody two shoes, and like his family is a little too milquetoast, but like on paper he's a guy who just loves his family and helps his neighbors whenever they need help, and it's just like friendly. He doesn't judge people if he can avoid it.
We've had some very sad moments in the 2+ seasons we've watched. Homer attempting to commit suicide, Lisa and her substitute teacher, listening to Rod and Todd
sing Gray Skies.
Gray Skies
God.
are going to clear up as Ned is admitting to Homer that they lost the house and their family is destroyed, and they're just singing Gray Skies are going to clear up.
The already embroidered sign in the car that says "God bless this happy car" one day after foreclosing on the house is so sad.
It is. Yeah, that was a heartbreaking moment. And like, fucking Homer like haggling with him to get his like $300 grill for $20.
And then saying, oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want it. It was a flight of fancy unless you throw this in. That's where I found him to be irredeemable.
Dick move. Yeah.
Like I wrote down in my notes, just Homer is irredeemably bad in this episode.
Yeah. It was funny to watch him try to cut his whole lawn with Ned's weed whacker. That was
I like that Homer opens the episode by not wanting to go to the barbecue, smelling it, and then dashing into it, stealing a bunch of food and beers, and then running for it.
Yeah.
I like how
and then wishing ill against his host.
I like how Homer refuses to go. He is like, he's laying on the couch watching the Canadian Football League draft.
The draft.
And then
that hits home in this time of coronavirus when you're starting to slowly run out of shit to watch. Like, I could watch the old CFL draft.
But then
you want to see what the Hamilton Tiger Cats were up to in 2016.
The smell of barbecue wafts in the windows, and it cuts to Santa's little helper, the dog, leaning out the window, drooling and smelling the smell, and then it pans to the left, and Homer's doing the exact same thing, drooling out the window, and smelling and panting. Which I thought that was a funny visual gag right there. I like that whole little sequence.
I have one quick point to make about this.
Yeah.
Hamburgers and hot dogs, that's not fucking barbecue. Stop calling it barbecue. You're grilling hamburgers and hot dogs. That's bullshit.
What's a barbecue? That's at Andy Reid's standard.
Like ribs and brisket and pulled pork and shit. That's barbecue.
So at what point if you have barbecued ribs on your bottom shelf of your grill, and then
Then
you
your
have and then you have hot dogs and hamburgers on like the top shelf of the grill. But then the ribs are done and the burgers aren't done, and you take the ribs off, but the burgers and hot dogs are still on. Is it no longer a barbecue?
Then
It's gone from a barbecue to grilling.
as soon as you take the ribs off,
You're not
grilling,
barbecue.
baby.
You're grilling now. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
As soon as the ribs come off, you're straight grilling, baby.
All right. What if you got a kebab, like a you got a skewer of vegetables and marinated chicken on a grill? Is that barbecuing?
That's grilling, baby.
That's grilling. Okay. What if they're barbecue marinated chicken?
Oh boy, that's barbecue.
That's barbecue. All right, cool. I get it now.
As you know,
I
here
get
at
it now.
Homerphilia, if there's one thing we care about, it is arbitrary delineations of rules.
Yeah. And folks in the comment thread, this is the type of stuff you could ask us. You could just post different foods in the chat, and we'll tell you if it's barbecue or not.
Yeah.
I did like Homer complains about the healthy food in the vending machine.
I love that.
He sits there and reads out he watches Mr. Burns read the suggestion box stuff, and the first one is clearly from Smithers, and it's addressed to Mr. Burns, and it says like, can you stop the handsome boss from walking around so much? He's distracting the female employees. And Mr. Burns is flattered. I just love watching Smithers like give him little like love notes and
I love Homer cycling through all the fucking apples in the vending machine, and then he sees one with the leaf on. He's like, "Hey, I know you. You're that apple I didn't want the first time."
Yeah, you're that apple I didn't want the first time.
I absolutely love the ongoing bit of Burns never recognizing Homer. I love it so much.
It's so good every time.
think it's.
I was watching it with Miranda, and she was like, "Does Burns never recognize Homer?" I'm like, "No."
I really
He'll always
think.
need it explained to
And
him.
the arbitrary words that he uses that Smithers uses to describe Homer are hilarious to me. Also, like some boob.
Oh, he's a
in the-
Joe Lunchpail
yeah.
from Sector 17.
Yeah, exactly. And it's. I think that is my favorite running joke in The Simpsons so far. I really do. I think that it builds it every time. It's hilarious to me now. So I enjoyed that too. I like the Burns and Smithers dynamic because Burns is just such a piece of shit to everyone always, and Smithers is just like,
Except in this episode.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
He was kind of the Deus Ex Machina for this because he buys the fucking Roadster.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
Like he
that's
buys
true.
the car that saves the shop and then says huzzah for the shopkeep.
Huzzah for the shopkeep.
He spends the money, does something nice, and then is nice to Flanders. It's a weird Burns moment.
How did he why did he need that many can openers?
I don't know, but he did say something like the boys at the dining hall will be baffled by this.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he
I
wants to eat a lot of canned of beans at once.
Maybe. I like that. I like eating one can of beans, not that funny. Eating a lot of cans of beans, now that's funny.
Yeah, you do. I notice a lot when we're on stage together. If you feel like a bit is failing,
I'll bring out my
you will
bean cart.
introduce, eating a lot of cans of beans.
Yeah, I got a bean cart. I'll introduce the bean cart and just start smashing cans of beans. People think it's very funny.
Yeah, sometimes it'll be like a scene between a father and a son trying to reconcile, how life has changed since they lost the mother, and it's not going well. And you'll say, "Uh-oh, time to eat a bunch of can of beans," and then you bring out the bean cart.
Yeah. I like a good bean cart.
The B plot of this episode, Bart learning karate at the mall, fucking
Yeah.
rocks. I
This
love
was-
that.
I love how comfortable Bart is with himself. Like
Mm-hmm.
Marge sees his little pot belly and Bart just is fully accepting of who he is and doesn't really need to change.
It's a wild moment for Marge because she loves Homer,
Yeah.
but is mortified at the idea of watching her son turn into Homer. She's like, I love Homer, but I don't want my son to become my
Yeah.
husband. I want him to
He's-
have something better.
Please, God, don't make my son like this man I love. This episode, so he
Such a
ditches
good
karate.
quote. Please, God, don't make my son like this man I love.
Yeah, that's the full quote.
Just sad.
uh,
That's
so
the
he-
relationship of every woman to their son, I think.
Yeah, please don't.
Please,
make
God,
this-
don't make his
yeah.
son like this man I love.
There's one man I love in the world, and I want nothing more than my son to be absolutely nothing like him. He ditches
This man
karate
who
class.
is genetically predispositioned to turn into my husband, please don't let this happen. I want better for him.
I want better for him. Oh my god. So yeah, he ditches karate class to like go to the arcade, or he like goes to eat. It reminded me of that one family, or not, of King of the Hill, where Bobby sneaks off to go eat at that New York deli. It gets himself. He gets himself gout from eating too much pate and liver and onions.
Gout, the king's disease.
The king's disease. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with liking rich foods. Just be careful for your toes.
Yeah. Shout out to Jim Rosenai, known haver of gout. Looks like I'm gonna skip having it. It looks like it skips a generation. So, how do you? Good for me.
I had a buddy who had gout like last summer. He's like 24, 25, and he had gout. It's like,
What's
I didn't know
gout?
that happened to young people.
What is gout?
It sure does. It's like an inflammation of the joints around the toes. It's like you eat too many rich foods. If you have gout, when you eat rich foods, it like causes like
rich
uric acid
like
to crystallize
rich
around the
like
joints
like
of your
chocolate,
toes.
like rich chocolate, or like
No, like-
expensive?
Like alcohol, red meat,
Okay.
Gravies.
gravies.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get mixed up in a big like if you're doing like a diet that's like 60% gravy, you're in trouble. Because I was on the gravy diet for a while,
Oh yeah.
where
I
you
went
can
down-
eat whatever you want as long as it's different types of gravies.
Now you got the book The Gravy Diet by Dr. Jim Palermo.
Yes.
I, on the other hand, I went with Dr. Rebecca Chalmers. I got the gravy train, and I tried
Right.
her gravy based diet. Both of us had pretty negative
Yes.
experiences with gravy diets.
Well, and to be fair, Dr. Jim Palermo would have lived to have been 150 if he hadn't gotten
Hit by
smashed in that train accident. He was the healthiest man on Earth, and if he hadn't gotten absolutely obliterated by a passenger train,
Yeah.
he would have lived for a long time.
I am confident that he would have lived 42 more years as well. He was a healthy 60-year-old man, but he got blasted by that train.
He got absolutely just turned into fucking pulled pork by that train.
And
Now,
you all know that Rebecca Chalmers would also be the healthiest person older than 100 in the world if she didn't die in that bungee cord accident.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, well, the big principle of the all gravy diet is that your food should look the same going into your body as it does going out of your body.
Yeah.
So if you are eating pure gravy for every meal, what you are filling the toilet bowl with, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Just gravy.
Exactly. And
Gravy in, gravy out.
In the gravy train, the first page is just, it has a big number 1, and it says rules. It has a big number 1, and it says all gravy all the time. And then it has a big 2, and it says that's it. And that book cost me $48.
Well, and I think a lot of the issue is that traditionally people think you've got like maybe a chicken gravy or a pork gravy, but you can make gravy out of anything. Name something.
Carrots.
Skittles.
You can make carrot gravy.
Skittles.
Skittle gravy.
Beef.
Beef gravy.
Oh, turkey.
Turkey gravy. Well, Andy, you're kind of just hanging out in the same area of that Ravens normally would.
Yeah. Okay.
You're just kind of living in the normal gravy area, and I'm saying, I think outside the gravy box.
Mountain
Okay,
Dew.
Sawdust.
Mountain
What
Dew.
I don't know. I'm spitballing. Rib tips.
Andy, that's one of the traditional gravies.
What about
That's why the gravy train diet failed you, because you didn't have the imagination for
what
it.
about duck?
Duck gravy?
Well, I don't know about that, buddy, because that seems like it would be.
Sounds like that would piss off my doctor pretty bad.
Yeah. It is weird that my doctor is always saying, "Oh, you better never eat duck. It's really bad for you."
Yeah.
It's
And
really
I'm
bad.
saying, why?
Bro.
I don't know, man.
And my doctor he's like you definitely you don't want to eat ducks, and then he says also you should probably just lay off birds in general. So he's not as concerned for other types of birds, but he did want it known that I should stop eating all birds altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I liked Marge. I loved Marge's line. Like, after Bart goes to the arcade to learn the touch of death. Oh, am I frozen? After Bart goes to the arcade to learn the touch of death, he's like using it to manipulate Lisa. And I love Marge just being like, Bart, don't use the touch of death on your sister.
Yeah, don't use the
just
touch of-
resigned, like, all right, stop.
Homer had a pretty good line delivery when he decided to start helping Ned. There's a lot of episodes in this show about people making phone trees, I'm realizing, because it was a show from the 90s. Like, that's how people
Yes.
got a lot of people to know something. But
That was how information was spread back then.
Yeah, that was how all information was spread, phone trees. He starts a phone tree to let people know about the Leftorium. And at one point, he's talking on the phone. He's like, do you remember last month when I paid back that loan? Well, now I need a favor from you.
I love that line of thinking. Me paying back a loan is a favor.
A favor. Yeah.
Like, loaning someone money is a favor.
Yeah.
I love that. That's just, I think, one of the best distillations of Homer's idea of the world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of moments in this episode that I really liked. I love anytime Bart can go in an arcade. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
And I like that I like the idea of kids learning martial arts because it seems exciting to kids, and then parents are supportive of it because it's like a clean, good, healthy, productive hobby. But then Bart's immediately disillusioned with it because it's very boring. So he just is repeating what he wants karate to be. It's like Bruce Lee shit. Like,
what did you learn today? I learned to rip a heart out and show it to the man before he dies.
It's like it's inherently something that's supposed to be a patient thing, and he's just addicted to violence. He's a little boy. He wants Power Rangers shit.
It is funny that is like kind of a ubiquitous childhood activity, because it's just like I'm gonna send my kid to punching school.
You have often said, Andy, that if you do have a kid, you would send them to punching school.
Yeah, well, you if you're gonna grow up on the mean streets like I did, you should definitely learn to know how to punch.
Well, for some people, it's choosing between, Yale and Harvard. For some people, it's U of M, Michigan State. If in our family, it's always the big question of, are you going to go to punching school or kicking school?
Yeah, yes. Because we all know that you can't do both. You have to punch or kick.
Well, no, I did punch for my undergrad and then kick for my master's.
It was.
I actually an old man with a huge onion for a head.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Well, he told me it was all in my mind.
Are you Parappa the Rapper again?
No, I'm not.
Damn it, Andrew.
It's in kick, punch.
God damn it!
It's all in the mind.
You guys want to know something fun?
What's
it's
fun?
all in the line. It was like $3 on the PlayStation Store, so I bought it.
You bought what is it called? Parappa the Rapper. What a good game.
They have a couple of like PlayStation 1 games on the PlayStation Store, so I bought it, and it is exactly as great as you guys all remember.
I bet
It's not fun, is it?
you just press buttons.
Holy shit, dude! Parappa the Rapper, the disc on Amazon is going used for $46.
Really?
Whoa, that's nuts.
I got that somewhere. Let's
New
find it.
from $320.
Wow. Go back in time and buy
I thought this was
that.
going to be a Razor Scooter game situation where I would just order it because I've had one drink while doing Homerphilia. Not
Yeah.
that situation.
I wish
Parappa the Rapper
I wish we had a running count of just money you spent on Amazon while we're live because of like a whim. Definitely like
Right now, it's probably about $30. at
yeah.
least.
Well, I mean, you got like a bunch of like $2, $3, $4 VHSs, right? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got a couple McDonald's guys in there, and then my freestyle scooter game is going to be here by next week, so we will be live on the stream with that game. So
At some
keep your
point-
eyes out for it.
At some point when we figure out how to do it like this, we're gonna Twitch stream Simpsons Hit and Run, the best video game of all time.
For me, it goes Simpsons Hit and Run, Breath of the Wild, Tetris.
Okay, and for me, it's Simpsons Hit and Run, Simpsons Road Rage, Simpsons arcade game, Grand Theft Auto 1.
Grand Theft Auto 1
Grand
with
Theft Auto 1.
with the
Fuck the-
overhead view. You guys got
You didn't even
favorite?
put Parappa the Rapper in there, you piece of shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. You guys got favorite jokes in this episode?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with just I really like the Mr. Burns not recognizing Homer, and I'm gonna use that as my favorite this week. I think running bits can count as favorite jokes, and that's one of my favorite jokes. And today it's culminated for me as a thing I look forward to.
We love a good culmination.
Hell yeah,
loved-
buddy!
It wasn't like an a laugh out. It wasn't a gut
Right.
buster of a joke, but I really enjoyed the line, "Affordable tract housing made us neighbors.
Yeah.
You made us
That ruled.
friends." That was a great line.
Affordable tract housing, whenever they say that, it reminds me of the game LA Noir.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You guys play that game? It's
I
like there's a big
played it,
conspiracy
and it
where they're
really-
building affordable tract housing in LA after World War II. And there's like a big money conspiracy, but that's what it made me think of for some
That
reason.
game pissed me off, man. It's like
It's on Switch right now if you want to.
I don't want to play it. I want to just
Nintendo eShop.
like Grand Theft Auto that game, and they make you fucking like just ask people questions and have conversations. It's like, why do you have a video game with guns if you got to talk to people to solve a mystery?
Shout out to Alex Bergmans and I think his brother who were doing this thing where they were like trying to lie like the characters in LA Noir, which is a very specific
Yeah.
kind of like video game lying. My favorite joke in this episode, that was on the list. And then I have a special affinity for fictional video games in the Simpsons universe. And in the background this week, we got one of my favorites, which was Robert Goulet Destroyer.
That's a
Which
good
fucking
one.
rocks. And that was like, I like them like dunking on Robert Goulet long before like Will Ferrell was doing it on SNL and stuff. Like it's a great fictional video game.
That is pretty funny. So we also rank our favorite episode. We are watching The Simpsons in chronological order, so we're only ranking our favorite episode of all time based on this rewatch. From our last recording, my favorite one was Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington. Devin's was Lisa's Substitute, and Darren's was Stark Raving Dad.
I'm staying.
Anybody changing?
Staying.
No.
Me too. I'm staying.
I think
yeah.
this episode was one that is a fine episode, but it will not be memorable to me. Other than the Leftorium being in existence. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't like it fleshes out Ned a little bit. That's good. Fleshes out the family a little bit more. That's good. Fleshes out the world a little bit more. That's good. But really, no great jokes, no great plots. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a solid episode, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's top 5, top 10, or anything like that to me.
Yeah. I'm looking through season 3 right now, and we're gonna go through a stretch here of a bunch of episodes where I think one of us will be changing our favorite episode like every week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
ready.
at a point where I have expectations to enjoy these episodes now, which like I
Yeah,
did not go into this thinking that. So like this, I think early on I would have like really, I mean, this would have been a good season 1 episode. You know what I mean? And now we've come to expect Bart the Daredevil. We've come to expect Lisa Substitute. We've come to expect Stark Raving Dad or any of these ones. Lisa Goes to Washington. Like those are good, really good episodes of anything, not just episodes of The Simpsons, but those are like good episodes of TV. So I think that's a good sign that like I expect good and that like,
for sure.
So cool.
All right.
Should we thank some sponsors?
Yeah, my sponsor is big old metal water bottles. When I
You're not supposed to do stuff that's in the room, buddy.
When I need a lot of water, but I don't want to get up a lot because I stayed up till way too late. Big metal water bottles.
I'd like to thank my sponsor, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, my doctor.
Yep.
If you have a lot of breadcrumbs at home and your tummy feels sick, go see the doctor down at the river. All you gotta do is pay in breadcrumbs.
I would like to thank my primary care physician as well, Mallard Fillmore. Who what a guy. Yeah. What an absolute guy.
Wow. Well, good luck with your respective medical bills.
Yeah. Thank you. They hurt so much.
Yeah. I don't think you get what medical bills are, but we'll get there,
I know.
buddy. We'll get there.
These medical bills are going through the roof.
Yeah, they're
because my doctor keeps pecking at my roof.
Yeah, I think I get it. All right, everybody, we will be back on Thursday.
We're talking.
What are we watching on Thursday?
Oh, I guess we didn't decide. Are we watching something good or bad?
Must be another Ernest movie.
We can't do another.
Hey, do you want to do you want to check with Fortin and do Dunstan Checks In?
Let's check. We'll either do an Ernest, we'll do a Dumb and Dumber, or we'll do a Dunstan Checks In with Fortin. Hopefully Fortin's available and we can just do that. But like,
if we are doing an Ernest one, it will be Ernest Goes to Jail.
Is that good? Can we watch? Can we watch a good Ernest movie?
Ernest movie? Is that what you're gonna ask?
Yeah, I mean, like,
okay. If my childhood memory serves,
and it historically always does,
right?
And it always does. The ones that you want to watch vis-a-vis good Ernest movies, Ernest Scared Stupid, and Ernest Goes to Camp are the best ones.
All right, can you pick one of those and we can do that?
Okay.
Chris Fortin's in the chat. He said he can clear his schedule if necessary. We're gonna check in. We're gonna check in with Chris Fortin, and we might do if we can figure it out. We might watch Dunstan Checks In and do a Homerphilia special. So anybody who follows what we do, we've been doing recently. We've been doing live streams Sundays and Thursdays, 7:00. The Sunday episode we do a Simpsons episode, and then the Thursday episode we've been doing something outside of the Simpsons. So last week Thursday we did Ernest Goes to Africa, which is a across the board terrible movie. Don't watch it. This is not a recommendation. It was just another movie that we tangentially talked about and decided we would watch and then talk about more. So next week it looks like we're going to be doing a Dunstan Checks In. So if you want to join in and talk about Dunstan Checks In, I think that's what we're going to be doing. But I think that's all. And you guys got any parting words?
Stay safe. I love you.
Stay safe. We love you. Devin, you got anything?
Free or duck card.
Yeah, hell yeah, everybody. All right, friends, we will see you on Thursday. Keep check in on the Planet streams every day. We have stuff going on. If you follow us on the social medias or you like and subscribe on whatever channel you're watching on, we stream on Facebook, we stream on YouTube, we stream on Twitch, and we stream on Periscope. Like and follow that stuff and support.
My doctor streams in the river. He's in the stream.
Yeah. Of course he does.
My doctor's mostly in the field and streams. Yeah.
They are. Again, I think you guys are confused. But if you want to support Planet Ant, we're closed. Our physical locations are closed, but we're still working hard for everybody. Go to planetant.com.
Garrett,
yes.
You do understand what I mean when I say my doctor bills are going through the roof, right? Because he's pecking at my roof, making a big hole in it.
I get it, and then you keep talking about your medical insurance will cover it, but I think you're just talking about regular insurance covering damage to your home.
I don't know.
I don't think it's the
anymore.
same thing.
All I know is
My
we
doctor
gotta-
bills are in the black right now.
Von Wink says with fewer tangents, you could probably get through 2 episodes of podcast. Yeah, no shit, we could, but that's not what we do here. Damn it! You want a fucking efficient show? Go find one.
This is the show.
This is the show. The tangents are the
When are
show.
we gonna get to the fireworks factory?
God damn it! This is offensive.
As God is my witness, we will never stop tangents. We will not let this virus win. We will continue to make tangents.
Tangents. What are we talking about? What I think about before I go to bed?
Hell yeah, buddy. No, Von
I'm
Wick,
saying-
we are glad that you're here, and we are very
We're
happy
glad
that you
you're here.
participate. If you
Hell yeah.
you
You're here,
feel
but
free
I
to
will
steer
tell you
us
right now,
steer us
if
where you
we
want to steer
stop-
us in the chat whenever. I mean, you're welcome to participate. So keep on saying stuff, and we'll
Hell
go
yeah.
there. If you
we stop
type
going
get
out
back.
on tangents,
If you-
coronavirus wins.
If you type in all caps, we'll assume you're yelling at us. So if you say like "get back to the Simpsons" like 3 times in a row in all caps, we'll take that as you yelling at us, and then we'll
Yeah.
probably try. But yeah, everybody, we'll be
And
back.
if you say Andy Reid's full name 3 times, he will appear at your house.
And
Yes.
that's a promise.
Beetlejuice rules.
But we're gonna get out of here. So keep on checking the Planet Ant stream every night. There's other shows, including ours. And when we get back to the real world, we hope to see you at Planet Ant. For some Homerphilia live shows and all the other fun shows we do at Planet Ant. If you feel like giving us money, Venmo us at Planet Ant. Go to planetant.com to find out more, or planetant.com/donate if you feel like giving us some money. We are a nonprofit, so these donations are tax deductible. And we love you. Thanks for your support. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody.